jungle Sky and won that matchup.
Okay.
So Grace will be hotly contested, I think, between both these teams here for sure.
But let's focus on the Batiste for them.
Yeah, they have not played Batiste actually yesterday, so I'm not sure if Labyrinth can play it. So let's see if it's come out. They're gonna go ahead and ban Vox away from Apfel here, which is pretty smart, which leaves Grumpjaw, Baron, Grace, all potential bans from Mousesports here. So whatever Mousesports doesn't ban, they're gonna go ahead and pick up. And Baron is going to be banned. That Baron, he's never going to see play here in EU.
Yeah, Baron is just not allowed in this situation, which is kind of funny because, you know, last season, Baron was one of the most played heroes in EU, right? That was like the EU pick.
Yeah, it was very, very common. I believe it was actually sitting right around... where'd it go? I had the stat here.
All right, well, you look at your stats.
Yeah,
we'll talk
I'm not
about
sure
the
about
fact
this
Grumpjaw's
Grumpjaw pick because Grace is actually good against Grumpjaw. When Grumpjaw dives in, Grace can just Holy Nova and stun him and counter him to start getting his living armor stack shredded and make him a little more squishy. So let's see if Mousesports is going to take that Grace first. They're not. They're going to take Blackfeather and ban the Idris. Blackfeather is like the popular good-looking guy here in EU. Like, he's been picked a lot here pretty often.
Only for his appearances, though. That's
yes,
the only
totally for his appearance. You know, that rose and that sword. You know.
He's definitely got that kind of, you know, suave Frenchman look about him, but Idris is going to be the ban coming out from Mousesports. They're going to be happy. But this is a very early pick of Blackfeather. This is kind of the earliest we've seen him in a draft recently.
Also, Grace hasn't been touched yet, which is surprising. There's going to be the
there we go.
Oh, yes, she has.
So Mousesports is definitely going to take Lyra here because Lyra CP Blackfeather is a very strong combo. Reliable unit will need to run a weapon Grumpjaw. CP Grumpjaw is not good into a CP Blackfeather because he falls off. He loses the scale game versus CP Blackfeather. So I think Mousesports will pick Arden here or Lyra. If they give Lyra Grumpjaw, that's a really dangerous combination to give over to the Reliable unit. So let's see what Mousesports can end up picking here.
Grumpjaw too.
Yeah, exactly. Adagio Grumpjaw is really strong, but I'm not sure if Reliable unit plays Adagio Grumpjaw. You know, it depends on their comfort picks here for sure.
Yeah, so interesting statistic on there as well. You can see Blackfeather is actually the most played hero this season for I'm the Doom. So
yeah,
very clearly a comfort pick. So maybe that's why they've gone so early in the draft. But Finn coming through.
He played it twice yesterday, and they won with it twice with Blackfeather Arden and Blackfeather Lyra. So this is the first time I've seen Blackfeather Finn here. So it's a very interesting draft by Mousesports.
They're just trying to get the whole set of Blackfeather with all of the different.
However, Finn does counter Grumpjaw though because he's so tanky. He can't get eaten, so he can block the stuffed, and he can also stun him with the Quibble because Grumpjaw is a pretty big guy, easy to hit. So let's see if they're going to take Lyra Adagio here or Adagio combined with Arden. You know, all great combinations. They definitely need to run a weapon Grumpjaw, in which they will with the Samuel pick here, looks like.
But now, is it going to be a Captain Grumpjaw? Because Samuel is so often in the jungle, and I don't see them putting Samuel into the lane. So this leads me to believe it will be a Captain Grumpjaw.
It definitely feels like Mousesports are building this composition to go against the Grumpjaw. Perhaps this is something they've been preparing for specifically. But the Samuel locked in and now looking towards the final pick for Reliable Union. They've got to round out this composition. Now, you mentioned that there could be a Captain Grumpjaw. With the Glaive coming in, there's still a little bit up in the air. Glaive could be the captain as well. We saw that last game.
We could, but that would then, again, either Samuel or Grumpjaw would have to go in the lane, and I don't really feel like...
Not a fan.
Neither of those two are really very common in the lane, whereas Glaive we have been seeing in the lane pretty regularly.
I don't know. Someone was telling me that Weapon Power Samuel can actually be very strong in the lane.
Well, someone lied to you. that is what happened.
So
there.
for anyone tuning in that didn't see the last series, go back and watch it. It's a perfect example of why never to pick Weapon Power Samuel. Anyway, what are we thinking about the compositions? What are the win conditions for these teams?
Yeah, I don't like them picking double melee into Finn. I mean, they should have still weapon powered a Grumpjaw. He's still very strong. If they reflex block the Finn Quibble and gets onto a carry and blows up Kestrel, that would have worked perfectly fine. But the Glaive is not good into Finn. So I feel like Mousesports has a better draft here.
So that Finn definitely going to be the crux of this Mousesports draft.
Yeah, so much of what they want to do is going to be around that Finn and protecting the other two heroes. Using the fortified health is going to be really strong against the double melee, as Suijay was mentioning. And it forces them to group up too. Like the Glaive and the Grumpjaw are going to be pretty much on top of each other most of the time. And that just is inviting trouble when you're up against the Kestrel.
And I'm betting on Justman's Finn. His Finn is actually really good based on what I've seen, so I think he's going to carry on this Finn.
We did say we wanted to see Justman step up today. This could be the opportunity for him to do so. Get involved on social media. Use that hashtag Vainglory8 to get in touch and let us know who you are going to be supporting, whether you think Mouse is the favorite or whether you think Reliable Union can come into this one swinging. We'll find out as we're going to pass it over to the Halcyon Fold.
Thank you very much, Munchables, and it is this second series, Reliable Union, making it through to day 2 here from the Challenger Series to facing out Mouse, theoretically a second Challenger Series team if you consider that their origins were formed in Lemon and Lime.
Yeah, very good point, but they've certainly shown that they can battle up here in the VG8, do very well, winning week number 1, and on track to have a strong performance here again. Reliable Union, this is their opportunity to make a statement and say that they belong here too, and that they are very, very strong contenders. I think we got to talk about the draft a little bit though, because this Grumpjaw going through, not something we see a lot of. Not only did it go through, but we're seeing it paired up with a lane glaive, and it's actually a captain. Now we've really not seen very much of that. It does seem like something that is a little bit ill-conceived into a Finn, potentially. Mostly because, in my opinion, Captain Grumpjaw is best used for eating the enemy captain, right? Like, that's the most likely case, because it's pretty hard to get onto the backline, especially against, like, a Kestrel and a Black Feather. Getting to those targets is hard, but you can't eat Finn.
Right.
So that's not going to work super well.
I think the best usage I've seen of a Captain Grumpjaw is eating a Cruel, a weapon-powered Cruel, and taking him away from the team fight, and that way the carries can focus down the opposite carry. But here we go, Daredevil setting up. This is going to be Apfel dying. There's just no escape, and that will be first blood going over to Daredevil.
Very nice plays there out of Reliable Union. That is certainly something the Captain Grumpjaw can do. Has a strong slow on the dash, so if you set it up with an afterburn, it's a nice spot to be in. This is actually going to be a struggle pretty much, consistently for Apfel, unless he reacts quickly enough to Daredevil going in with an active camo. He's gonna die to that gank every single time. So either Just Man stays up here with him, or Apfel just, hovers over that active camo and makes sure that he always lands it before it's too late.
I really like the weapon glaive into Kestrel. We saw it succeed for Dynasty in their game against this side of SK Gaming. It just provides so much threat for Apfel, and Apfel has had a fantastic time so far into his entry of the VG8 the summer season, playing on heroes like Vox and playing on heroes like Gwen. When we've seen him kind of dive into other weapon-powered carries, he hasn't had as much success, and so now in this Kestrel, I'm sure he's experienced. He wouldn't be playing it otherwise, but against a glaive, it's possibly the hardest counter that you can face against.
Yeah, it's really difficult. Reacting to that is nigh on impossible for most mortals. Maybe Apfel is an example of someone who can actually have those quick reactions. We've seen him perform incredibly well since he joined. Look at that damage, too. I mean, the burst out of a weapon glaive alone is enough to really put the fear of God into you. Apfel's going to have to be very careful here. One thing that is also sort of less thought about, but I still think quite relevant in this matchup, is the fact that actually, although he's not going for it because he wants to set up ganks, if you ever leave lane, Glaive actually pushes very quickly because of Splash. Like, once he actually picks up some crit, it's a bit of a problem.
He is caught a little bit, but able to speed away with the power of his sprint and boots. It's going to be Just Man taking these Mouse and Verdicts to the back, just to make sure Doom doesn't take any splash damage. And it's quite interesting. For those who are wondering, if you kind of look at the tables here in Europe, Mouse obviously last week taking first place, and with some of their contenders actually dropping out in day 1, if they take this series against Reliable Union, there's no way they lose first place in Europe here. So they're in a really strong position because Dynasty, I think the furthest they can get is 11 points. If they take EU, that's a first place in EU. Whereas Mouse, if they make it to the finals, they will be sitting higher, I think, on 14 points. So right now, Mouse are in a very strong position. They just need to win this series. But Reliable Union putting up a lot of fight, and that's going to be I'm the Doom taken on out. Another kill going over to them. And Justman, well, he's a slow Finn. He cannot escape this, and so he will go down. And Reliable Union have to be feared. When they are playing to the top of their game and catching people out, they are actually a very scary team.
Roaming into the enemy jungle with Blackfeather Finn at this stage is probably a little bit premature. The thing you got to realize is that Finn scales really hard. Oh, hang on, Apple.
Yeah, this is destruction. Like,
Guys.
okay, so for, let me just tell a story real quick, AJ, before you break this down. Reliable Union were known in the Challenger Series for playing triple melee and scaling games and then just diving onto carries and blowing them up. So that's what they were known for in the Challenger Series. Now, it's a new roster in the form of Daredevil and HF Guy coming in, the code of moving from manager to captain. But there's still that kind of element that exists, that they will play these melee heroes that can catch you out and blow you up. And with the Samuel paired from HF Guy, it provides them so much more, I guess, options to take fights because they have range added to their kit.
Yeah, it's a very good point. I think really Reliable Union have a composition that favors the style they like to play. Mousesports is kind of an interesting contrary point to that, right? Like they, I feel like, are not playing a comp that necessarily lends itself to the fact that they're very, for example, very mechanically gifted players who are, have historically at the very least been able to pressure very effectively. Weapon Power Kestrel in lane is not a pick that does that in most matchups. Finn, although Just Man is excellent on this Finn, and we have seen him play it a lot, is not something that facilitates plays early on. And Crystal Blackfeather can do it, but just not paired with a Finn. So either they fight together, I think is 3, or Mouse need to just establish vision and play very defensively. They don't have good tools for setting things up this early into the game.
And when you throw it back to draft and you consider the fact that the first ban that came out of Reliable Union was this Vox, and you remember back to the point I made about Apfel and his fantastic plays on Gwen and Vox, but those heroes alone so far in the VG8, that kind of really feeds into how Reliable Union set up a draft that favored them this hardly, because the Vox already removed and the Grumpjaw added, which provides some threat, though perhaps less in the captain position. It's forced Apfel to go onto a hero that he hasn't played yet into the VG8 and is untested, and Reliable Union wanting to punish this. Liquid of level 6 has stuffed available. We'll have to see if they can catch someone out with either an Afterburner or a Stuffed and just open up this turret for Siege.
Yeah, I think it's unlikely they push onto a turret objective this early, but they could definitely go for some back camps or maybe even the sentry if they want to. I love that HF Guy is playing very split from his team. They don't know, like Reliable Union does not know how close Just Man is to 6. We know he's super close, and they probably have an inkling of that. As a result, the last thing you want to do is stack in the bush. You will get blown up, you will get punished. HF Guy playing down where he was, away from his team, means that if you go for the hook, you're not hitting everyone, and HF Guy can perhaps Oblivion as a counter-engage, and it means that as soon as that camp spawns, you can rotate down and pick it up. They don't have to commit themselves specifically to the turret. So, from a tactical perspective, Reliable Union is playing their composition perfectly, and they're also giving good respect to what they can offer on the other side.
Oh, Doom looks to he gets a steal. That was a steal. Doom gets the steal and he runs away. I thought he was looking for it, but it was just a straight up steal from Doom. Holy moly. Casters obviously blind. Myself especially, so maybe I need to get my eyes checked, go to Specsavers or something, because that was incredible from Doom.
It really was really strong stuff there. That punished Reliable Union pretty hard. They obviously, with the lead they have inherently in their composition and also through their play this game, need to be doing everything in their power to keep it and avoid letting the side of Mousesports scale. They, when you get a steal like that, lose a lot of advantage. I mean, the gold is now only 600 difference between the two teams. We've talked about it before, some heroes spend it better. Kestrel, Blackfeather, definitely heroes that spend it very well.
Yeah, for sure. And once Doom starts hitting these second item, the Broken Myth, and that's when this Blackfeather is going to become a bit of a threat, try and poke down this fairly melee composition of the Glaive and the Grumpjaw to try and prevent the massive engagers coming out. He can definitely provide a lot of threat with these on points if he's hitting them, and Apfel with the Glimmer shots can definitely do a very similar job. So Mouse, they are looking to scale up. That's when Finn becomes his strongest, that's when Weapon Power Kestrel becomes the strongest, and that's when CP Blackfeather becomes his strongest as well. And for Reliable Union, they will be very strong in the late game. They don't fall off necessarily, but they will be on slightly more equal footing and will have to deal with a poke that's coming out of both Apfel and Doom.
It's all relative, right? And also you got to consider what builds we're going for here. Daredevil is going for a weapon power build. Now, this means his damage is going to be much more comparable to the other heroes he's against in the late game, but it also means that someone like a Crystal Blackfeather is going to be able to annihilate him with poke. Glaive does not function well, darting in and out of fights. You go in, you go hard, try and make it happen all at once, and on the other side, Mouse has tools to punish any time where they fail to do that.
Well, you're going to see the Afterburn used defensively, as that's going to be a one-shot connecting to Daredevil. They've stuffed up Doom, though, and he can just use his reflex too late. Justman taking a lot of damage, but Doom can use that Rose offensive to get out, and the Fountain will come out from Mouse to heal them all up. Look at the health bar on Daredevil, and look at the fact that the Fountain is there from Likodov, but not being used yet, which suggests that Reliable Union don't actually want to team fight. And this could be a risk if Mouse are able to get onto this turret. Likodov, he's gone low. Fountain will come out. Daredevil goes
Nice
in, but the
reflex.
Afterburn doesn't connect. Good reflex block, like you mentioned. And now Reliable Union are at massive threat, unless HF Guy can do enough damage to force the entirety of Mouse off, seeming like he can actually do that. Oh, no, he
that was a
is
huge
so
knockdown.
low. What is this? Everyone is blinking, but no one is dying. Is everyone just going to go back? Gentleman's agreement, we all go home and come back again later.
Maybe. Or Daredevil will go in, twisted stroke, and get a triple kill. That's possible. Honestly there, Justman made a really smart decision. Even though HF Guy was kind of low and so was his teammates, he actually backed away and made sure that he didn't get a Corrupted Genius off, which would have allowed HF Guy to chase more. That was a nice one-shot. Not quite doing enough, but this is the thing, right? And this is one of the reasons I'm a bit concerned about the Captain Grumpjaw. Eating I'm the Doom doesn't accomplish much if your team isn't all engaging simultaneously. And, it's hard for a Reliable Union around this turret to make that play. I'd like to see them continue focusing things like the Gold Miner, and I'd also like to see them do some jungle invasion if they want to fight early, which, they should do. The turret is the hardest objective for them to make this work around.
And it always has been with Reliable Union, but as soon as they start getting to the point where they have the defensives, that's when it becomes a job for them. It does mean they draw games out. We've seen 30-minute games from Reliable Union in Challenger Series against the likes of Living Lime, which is kind of cool as far as story is concerned, because this is their first matchup since those days. But it's entirely different rosters on both sides of the table, so whilst the rivalry may be there, perhaps the players aren't feeling it. Either way, this turret is being taken very low, and it's not going to be long until Mouse find an opportunity to take that one out.
Very true. Lycadov moving up here.
really?
Might go for Apple.
They're going for him the Doom. He blocks the Rose offensive. Fountain will save his life. Now they can look to re-engage onto Daredevil. I'm the Doom. Takes a bit of poke in the process, has to respect the fact that there's crit and tension bow. That's going to put this Kestrel asleep. Apfel will go down. The reflex block can't save his life. And this might be the turret window that Reliable Union needed. They don't have minions, but HF Guy reckons he has I'm the Doom. He does! The last Malice and Verdict snipes him into oblivion. And Reliable Union pull ahead even further.
Yeah, I like that they were able to pick up that win. HF Guy doing some really nice plays on the periphery of that fight, finding the Oblivion onto Apfel, obviously the straw that broke their back there for Mousesports. Justman wants to steal it. We've seen Finn steal an abnormal
We've seen
amount of
Justman
crap.
still. Oh, okay, never mind. One shot comes through, tags Likodov. Reliable Union are fairly low. Justman has to be careful that he doesn't just find himself being taken out. It's got the War Treads now, this is huge, and that's going to be turret going down. Apfel, oh, he does secure it, but he loses his life in the process. The Doom's going to be engaged upon, but there's no energy for the stuffed, which makes his life a little bit easier.
I'm actually surprised Apfel, Apfel knows he's dying there. He's
Right.
a strong player, he knows that there's no way out, so why not just turn and get some attacks down onto Daredevil? Maybe I'm the Doom can finish him up. But as it stands, counter push on the turret here.
Yeah, looking for it right now. That's going to be a stuffed eating up I'm the Doom. The turret goes down, but Likodov might lose his life if I'm the Doom is able to get the poke.
One shot up in two.
Fountain's used. One shot is up in a second. And we'll tag HF Guy. He wasn't the main target there. 7-0, but it's only 3,000, 2.5 in fact, separating these two teams, which is kind of a testament to Mouse to be 7 kills behind, but staying fairly even.
So a big part of that is the fact that they're able to keep farming well in the background. But the other thing is that A, they got a steal on the gold mine earlier, and B, on the side of Reliable Union, they are winning these fights by small enough margins that they're not able to convert a fight win necessarily into that many objectives. Like, the only time they've done that has been onto the turret, which, you know, that's an even trade anyway. They'd already lost turret. It's difficult for them to win a fight so decisively and so quickly against things like Finn and Blackfeather that are very, if not durable, and in the case of Blackfeather, you know, very able to escape bad situations and buy time and extend these fights. You see Reliable Union limping away often after a victory. Now with the Kraken on the map, though, this is one objective that if they do win a fight and capitalize on, can be huge.
Well, they are looking for an engage here, but Justman's blocking up the stuffed. A good Crucible from Likodov will secure these life, not going to get pulled in. We see Apple returning back to the base to pick himself up an infusion, and Reliable Union sense this is an opportunity to find a kill. Diving on in, they do a bit of damage to Justman, but the one shot's going to tag HF guy, and that is a thread in a needle right there through the camel. He went through the needle. Okay, that was some good analogies right there, AJ. I think I was
through the
camel.
camel. That one. Is that what you said? I'm really trying to understand.
So the biblical parable
but...
is that when you can thread a camel through the eye of the needle, then that is it's as easy for a rich man to enter heaven as a threading a camel through a needle.
I have a feeling that the colloquial use being just threading the needle stemmed from the fact that that makes very little sense. Anyway, Justman, he's taking some damage here. Nice.
He's returning his Doom on the other side of the wall. That's a good stun. Can they continue this harass? Doom's trying to poke them down. The one shot won't connect. What's Doom got? He needs more Pierce, and you can see he's going towards the Broken Myth to try and help with the fact that everyone has a shielding, and Aegis is almost finished for HF Guy. Able to Rose offensive away. Looking very fancy with those moves. Reliable Union haven't been able to find a clean team fight yet. And Mouse haven't really been able to find enough damage to even get someone close to death.
Yeah, Mouse, it's a big problem for them in a lot of these fights because someone like HF Guy, for example, has a lot of sustain. Actually, you know, Daredevil does too by virtue of his passive on the ultimate. So there are options for Reliable Union to kind of be threatening enough that Mouse have to run away just because of upfront damage. But then also, it's not easy for Mouse to just turn and commit to a fight because there's good sustain too. So it's really a very careful balance. Mouse need to find, poke, and then initiate. They need to not get initiated on and then poke. It sounds like it should be the same, but it's not.
Well, this is a good start for them, but it's going to be Apfel knocked completely out of position. Founder comes out. He's going to start trying to blow up HF Guy, but he just gets blown up himself. I Am the Doom has a task ahead of him. He has the chance to win this fight, but it just doesn't seem likely, and it looks like Justman will lose his life in the process as well. The Kodov still has stuffed available. They didn't even use the Grumpjaw ultimate, but here they go. Doom will take damage. Likodov dives forward. Gonna find the stuffed as well. Will his team turn to try and blow up this Blackfeather? It doesn't seem like they will. And in fact, Likodov may lose his life. No. Daredevil able to zone. A Kraken take seeming likely. We have seen I'm the Doom already still one objective.
Apfel's got one shot when he spawns, and he's up in 2 seconds. It is possible. Reliable Union are not positioning around the Kraken very well here. We'll see if they go for it.
I'm the Doom. I'm the Doom.
They know where
that was the right timing, but he was just out of range. Oh, that was so close.
Pinged down the Kraken, like its health is just.
Oh, that was the one shot connecting.
So close.
Yeah,
so close. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, nice by Reliable Union. They're pressuring on all the right ways this game. Compositionally, I think they've played pretty effectively, barring a brief window where they were maybe not pushing hard enough early game. They're certainly showing mastery of the heroes they're on. Likodov, we were talking about.
Oh
nice.
Gosh, I'm the Doom. Look at the damage Fountain already used, and that's going to be so huge. As Apfel now has to try and survive. Good damage, catches out Daredevil, but now here comes Likodov. Oh, they stun him immediately. So that was interesting. And that's going to be Oblivion putting Apfel to sleep and Daredevil taking him out. I'm the Doom struggling to escape. He's trying to, but he goes down in a double for Daredevil, and in a very surprising turn of events, this game in itself, Reliable Union are knocking on Mouse's door.
This is a bad spot to be in for Mouse. I don't really see an easy way back into the game. They've lost so much already. They are at such a deficit in terms of composition. It's hard for them to find windows. Reliable Union, they've still got a half health Kraken, right? Like they're able to pick up that turret quite easily. Mouse have a very thin ice that they're walking on. If one mistake happens, it's likely to mean the game. That kind of pressure is not easy for any team, let alone one that had a breakout performance in week 1 and is suddenly looking at week 2 as if they might lose to a team that, theoretically they should have head and shoulders advantage over. I think that the interesting thing for me and what I'm really seeing as innovative and strong from Reliable Union is look at his Grumpchop play has been fantastic. He's not overly committing for stuff. He's not trying to we've seen a few times when we have a Grumpjaw in the game, they kind of inadvertently bait their team. They just go for a stuff when it doesn't make sense, and they're not able to capitalize. So they fight, but they can't do damage during the stuff. They lose maybe someone even during that period. But look it up, he's not baiting his team in with the stuff. He's waiting him to use it until it really makes sense, or it burns a reflex block so that Glaive can get an afterburn. It's strong stuff.
Very strong stuff, and I call it the Reliable Union effect, I think. The team that you sometimes don't expect to win, but somehow pulls it out through innovative compositions. Mouse, they are looking tiresome at this point. Distantly looking for poke, but almost doing no damage to the side. And now here we go, another fight breaking out as both Doom and Apfel survive. Daredevil goes very low. The one-shot's going to tag onto HF Guy. This is a chance for I'm the Doom to do a lot of work. They need to get Apfel in there as well. He's out of energy. I'm the Doom's going down. HF Guy just kind of provides this backline threat, the artillery of the Samuel, that kind of stops Mouse from hard engaging every time they get damage onto Daredevil. Justman going very low. This Drifting Dark is just so threatening. HF Guy can hit those Malice and Verdicts. It's trouble. We still have a stuffed available for Nikodov if he was to find a target.
Justman wishing this was like 1.7 Finn. He's got 7 seconds left on that Force Accord. Would have been a nice time to use it if it was available, but not quite there. I like Daredevil picking up the Journey Boots. That is going to allow for him, the Tier 3 boots. It's going to allow for him to really stick on top of targets a bit easier. Ultimately, there are ways that Mouse win fights, right? And it's if Reliable Union engage in the way that they did, very linearly, just heading directly onto the back line, they're going to step into an active camo inevitably in that situation. But Reliable Union, even when they make, kind of a strange engagement, I think that last one was not very good, Mouse are not yet in a position gold-wise where they can capitalize. So Reliable Union's still definitely in the lead here. Rests on a very fine line.
And the Doom dances away. Nikodov takes a bit of damage, but not too much. He's got those active living ammo. Here comes Daredevil. Apfel knocked away from the fight. Here comes Nikodov. Oh, they might be able to take Daredevil. No, the Founder comes out. One shot's going to hit Nikodov. Can they get a kill? It's going to be the Oblivion pushing them backwards, but Mouse, they want to engage. Nikodov gets tagged. The on-point finds its target, and now they're looking for HF Guy as well. Mouse have been so patient. 2 kills in 23 minutes. That is an incredible place to be in, and still fighting for a win here. At least fighting for their lives, it seems. The Kraken's going to be started up. HF Guy shows his face. And look at Daredevil. Daredevil has crit. Can he actually take this turret down? Yes, he can. Oh, he's going to go for the hero play whilst HF Guy tries to distract them. HF Guy goes down, but Daredevil has a minion wave. One shot doesn't connect, but Doom should be able to blow him up. Yes, he can, and they're going to take the Kraken for it. And very valiant play from Reliable Union, but all they've done is brought Mouse right back into contestant.
Wow. That was close. I appreciate and I admire going for that play, but it was maybe a little overly bold. Arguably, Daredevil could have just gone in right at the last second because he found a nice flank position. Gone in the last second, stolen Kraken, or perhaps blown someone up. But going for the base end, he does at least get the turret. This opens up backdoor potential for later on if they want to go for it. Let's talk about the fight that actually set that all up previously, though, because Apfel played so well. Active camo was not popped too early. He just barely, probably quite close to the end of its duration, was able to find a stun on the back line, like retreating members of Reliable Union, because he used it and then did not try and pop it quickly. Now, Mouse off that play, I really do think it was Apfel making that play happen earlier on, are in serious potential position to take home this game.
Yeah, it seems likely that they might have a chance to actually just finish it right now. Nakodov dives in, but this turret will go down, and the Kraken will just sit under half HP as it gets blown up by that turret. Nakodov, though, he's looking like he might fall down. Can I'm the Doom finally execute? Yes, he can! This could just be it now. They've lost their captain, they've lost their fountain, they've lost a lot, and that's going to be a stun, catching Daredevil out as the turret does fall. Kraken still standing, but does get blown up, but the turret is losing its life. Justman's still standing, and Daredevil going to be targeted. Mouse, how have they done this? They are trying to take it all down, but it's not over yet. Apfel's been caught by Daredevil, and he's going to go down, but I'm the Doom! Manages to finish off the Vein Crystal. 25 minutes, 5 kills, 1 kill per 5 minutes, and they managed to take the game, AJ.
That was absolutely obscene. Forget Oblivion. That game, if you're Reliable Union, was the thing of nightmares. The absolute comeback from Mouse when Reliable Union, by right, should have had the win. Going into game number 2, they got to keep their mental game strong, because that